Before we get into this week's Goals Eye View, I thought I'd mention our quiz at Boots and Laces on Friday. £10 entry per team. There's going to be 4 rounds. I'm going to be presenting it alongside probably Paul Mahone, possibly Dom. We've come up with all the questions between us. It's going to be rounds on Torquay United, football, general knowledge and more. This may become more of a regular thing. So please get along, support Boots and Laces because you're supporting the football club as well. And it will be a fun Friday night. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! He stays onside. Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Torquay added 4 points to their impressive start of the season with a 1-1 draw at Eastbourne and a 2-1 win against Worthing last night. I am joined by Tom, I'm joined by Chris, and we're going to discuss both games as we're still on 2 points per game. I mean, last night, what a win, what a night at Playmore. Absolutely fantastic. But we're going to start Eastbourne. Well-earned point. Tom, you were there. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was hard fought for sure. First half was very difficult. Eastbourne, I think you would expect them to dominate, especially considering we hadn't had a game for 2 weeks. Plastic pitch, not a very good plastic pitch either, I must say. Taking video and photos very difficult, but I digress.
Did it have hairspray on it or something? Was that shiny? Like it had hairspray on it or something.
Oh God, it was awful. Like I'm sick of them. Shouldn't be in this debate. Get them out of football, I say. But no, first half an hour, Eastbourne was certainly the better team. We were pressed hard. They had some really good wingers that were causing us trouble, and they had a really good long throw that we really struggled to deal with all game, to be honest. Until the last quarter of the game, there was a goal that was ruled out, I think, rightly for a push in the box. Looking back on it, yeah, you can see he's kind of it just didn't look right. It didn't look like a natural coming together. So I think that was the right call by the referee. And then we give away a silly goal from the corner. Heyman comes to try and get it, misses it, and I did think it went over the line personally. So no problems with that. And they deserved it, but we came out suddenly that woke us up a bit, and 3 minutes later we're level with probably our first bit of play on the ground. We were very direct. But fantastic move, finished brilliantly by Finley Crass. What a great effort in the near post, and it was a really good goal as well, really well taken, and just what we needed because Eastbourne, I think, were probably on the way to victory. So we got in at half time, 1-1, and then Watton changed it about with the formation. It went into a 4-3-3, and we looked a lot more settled, and especially when Hassani and Mussa came on. Hassani immediately he was pulling strings. He was looking to go forward, and he was kind of the vocal point for us getting forward. But there wasn't really many chances in the game, although we did have the better, I thought, the play in the second half. So we had a few half chances, a couple of weak headers at goal. And we kind of restricted Eastbourne to that. I expected them to. It was an end-to-end game, but I expected them, considering they're full-time and should be promotion candidates, or at least in the playoffs. I thought they tied towards the end. So physical team. There was a lot of gamesmanship, shall I say. Musa was getting targeted a bit, especially towards the end where they all had a bit of a coming together. There were a few coming togethers actually in that game. It feels like it was such a long time ago. But yeah, I think a point away at Eastbourne on that 4G, considering we haven't played for 2 weeks, is a very positive result. And we spoke to Wharton came over at the end anyway to where I was with a few other fans and said if we can get a win on Tuesday, it's a pretty good haul of points and he'd be very happy with that. So, a battling performance because I don't think many are going to go to Eastbourne and take much there. So I think that was a really good point overall.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there. I was following it, and I mean, as much as 10 years ago, if the sentence "it was a good point to Eastbourne" had come out of my mouth, I'd have wanted to wash it out and never always eat soap forevermore. But yeah, it looks that way. I liked Neil Warnock's comment on the little video that he did on the website. True. Yeah, yesterday, Monday, when he said that about, and I think he's right about a lot of them. They need to get a bit nastier. And that he enjoyed a bit. He likes players to have a bit of a scrap, and it sounds like it happened at the end. It was nothing serious, was it? Just a bit of a disagreement and a bit of pushing and shoving. But I think he's right. We do need to get a bit more rascal about us in certain situations because we can be a bit nice.
Yeah, I agree. Cook had a couple of moments where he was losing his rag a bit. He got booked unnecessarily, I felt. There was a coming together early on in the second half. There was a bit of gamesmanship, as I said, from the management as well. Yeah, I agree. I feel like we need to be a little bit nastier. There's coming. I think Musa got tackled right at the end at full time, and then there was a big sort of coming together that kind of escalated a little bit. Nothing more than
Mm.
handbags, in my opinion. Silly yellow cards, but you know what? It's just is what it is. But yeah, I feel like not to discredit Guy Branson or anything, but he was one person you wouldn't want to mess about with, and I feel like I'm missing someone like that in the defense. Someone who you're not afraid to go in there and ruffle a few feathers. I feel like we could do with that in our team. Personally, I'm sure we'll come
I
on to
think
it a
it's
bit
more in the
later with.
midfield, actually. I think it's more.
Mm,
Well, I mean, we had Kevin Hill in hospitality last night. What a bloke! But we had him in hospitality last night, and yeah, it made me think when I was a little bit too young to see him at his best and all that, but when we were sort of talking about it and he was describing, we had a nice chat about his, how he played and all that, and I just think that, yeah, just someone who just enables a little bit more in that midfield, maybe like the holding midfielder role, maybe like Threlkel's role, just wants to, just to be a little bit more, really get the ball and enable, and so the other lot can sort of carry the ball. I'm not. I think they're wise in games. I don't feel like we're a soft touch, to be honest. I like the idea of sort of bruising centre half and all that, but I don't think any of like Dre or anyone like are a soft touch. I do just think at times they do just need to, assert themselves a little bit. It's more the midfield I want to see a
I think
little
it's
bit
more
more of
midfield.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
to be honest
absolutely.
with
Yeah,
you.
no,
Yeah,
I
I
would
don't
agree
want to
with
see
that.
my
I think
centre backs charging in and getting sent off. We had that with Ross Marshall. So it's just
yeah, yeah,
like,
been there, done that.
we've been there, done that. But it's the midfield I want to see a bit more of a bruiser, a bit more of an enabler,
mm.
if that makes sense, in that sort of midfield. Yeah, I think it was a good point from sort of, someone there. I was quite happy with it. Eastbourne, they've got it right this year, bollocks it. First year
Yeah.
full time last year didn't go well, almost went down. Murray saved them. But this year, no, I think they'll be okay. They're hard to beat, aren't they? But no,
I think
decent
Tommy's
point.
right as well. I think Eastbourne's one of those kind of, won't be many teams good. I mean, let's be honest, it's the league's a bit wild, isn't it? Really, and that
Mm.
there's all kinds of results. You saw again on Tuesday night. Some of the results you just think, you can't predict anything, can you? And we've got to kind of make sure that we're not part of it, aren't we? We're just kind of doing what we're doing, and
Yeah.
we're picking up results. And last night was an example of a game where could argue did we deserve the win? I'd argue not, but it's a game that we found a way to win, isn't it?
Results wise, Eastbourne went to Hampton and lost 3-1 yesterday. So I think it just shows
It's
how
the
important that,
most inconsistent league.
it's such inconsistent. Yeah, exactly.
I was having this conversation so on the other sort of podcast, it's all gone south one. And like Darren, who's obviously the expert, Darren who's, studies the football manager, and he was explaining to me about the inconsistency. And I said a few about a month or two ago, I was like, oh, it's so frustrating. I know we can do it. It was like, welcome to National South, the most inconsistent. And that's why getting a 1-1 draw and winning 2-1, if you do that for most of the season, you fucking win the league or get very close to it. And this is the thing we're starting to be consistent with. Is just keep picking up these results because, still 2 points a game. When we had Portland on, we were fifth, then we're still about third, but we've got game in hand on top. So just keeping average and then good in these games is all it will take, and being solid and hard to beat. Because both those games we just had, so we have lost the last few years. I can't lie to you. Like, don't get me wrong, there's times I'm like, I feel like we could be up in the standard at times. But like, and as Neil Warnock said, and as I've said a few times, is that when people are saying, "Oh yeah, it's been all right start," we've got a brand new team. I don't think people understand. I don't understand. Only on Football Manager I
Mm.
understand. Is my experience. I don't understand like how difficult that is to get a brand new team. And a lot of the players he knew, and you can have stamp your philosophy in, but it's still impressive, and I still feel there's more to come. And we are starting to see that improvement. I thought those last two games,
Mm.
talk about last night, but and this 4-3-3 is interesting, isn't it? What was the
It is,
switch like
yeah.
at Eastbourne? What was the switch? We're going to Chris. I'll let you do your tactical analysis on Worthing game, but what was the switch? How did the switch feel like it impacted the Eastbourne game, Tom?
Well, it just gave us a bit more control of the ball, to be honest. We were, as mentioned previously, we were very direct, and we still are to a degree now. But I've always maintained, we as a footballing side, if we keep it on the deck, I think we're one of the best teams out there.
Yeah.
And we were just able to use the wide channel. Obviously, it was still, a winger light in my opinion, with real pace to get in there. But I don't know, it just gave us a bit more stability all across the
Yeah,
pitch. And it freed up, the likes of Musa to move forward and actually, get more into that sort of like a false nine position. And Hassani was able to influence in the midfield as well. So it just gave us that bit more attacking force. Defensively,
yeah.
I still think we're a little bit on a fragile side personally, but as we said, Sam, before we recorded, we've got one of the best defensive records in the league at the moment. So if
I
that's what fragile
prefer
is, then
I prefer, and Paul Watson definitely doesn't. If you look at his quotes last night, but the game yesterday, that second half, that's my sort of football. I love drawing teams like, yeah, you're going to get a little bit done here and there, but I love those games. You don't really have any
Mm.
control of them at times, but I predicted
Yeah.
a derby game. I actually predicted a 3-2 in our prediction league, which I am near the bottom of this season. I did quite well last year. But I just felt like the
That's because
game
we were.
was
That's
going to
because we
kick
were.
off a bit.
That's because we were crap and you're negative last year.
Yeah. But I've been predicting more wins than Nathan this year. But like, it's just
just
I just
back
think
to
yeah, last night was really interesting. We'll move on to last night if you want. Actually, I think that's all of that because I am a
back
four
5
three
points.
three
Just
fan.
saying, Swanee, back to back 5 points for me.
Well
Just
done,
saying.
mate. Well done. You did
Oh, there he
well.
is.
I did call the second goal though. I went to my mates. I was like, we're scoring from the school, and we did. So there we are. But yeah. So last night, interesting game. First of all, big thank
Really
you
interesting game.
to Kevin Hill, as I said, for joining us, Oscar Muska and all that, and the club for sort of having me and Dom there. In Clive's absence, Dom was there, while he's away. And yeah, just been part of it and speaking to everyone. It's amazing. We had the padded seat. Shout out to him, I'm sure. So I didn't actually know him beforehand, but he reviews hospitality of all football clubs, from like all over the world. It's his living, because he gets some reviews and all that. And he was sat on me and Dom's table. So that was very interesting. So nice bit of talky talk in that review, probably. I hope he had a good time. And yeah,
And he
it
was then
was,
sat in front of me at the game as well.
was he? Nice.
He was standing there in front of me.
Nice.
Well, first half he
Nice.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he moved topside second half.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I thought it was a really nice sort of bit show where the club is going actually. And I sort of speak to him about the differences. Anyway, Worthing at home, it's a real big test actually that last night because I think Worthing, well, we all know what we think of Worthing. I have so much respect for Worthing. They're probably the club I respect the most in the league actually in Torquay because like just the journey and just the way they've gone about, losing the playoff final and turning around. I do think they'll be there or thereabouts for the season. The way they play football, but just yeah, I mean, it's a big win for Torquay, wasn't it? Chris, go for a bit of tactical analysis between. Let's go in the first half first,
Mm.
and where I don't say we were that bad, but we just
No.
didn't take any. We weren't bold, and we were lacking in midfield, weren't we?
Yeah, I think what Watton said after the game, I think was interesting. I think he's right in that is that when they set up how they set up, it's very hard to play against because you
Yeah.
think, well, you press, and then what we tried to, you press high, you can box them in and steal the ball, and we did a couple of times that. It quite the first time didn't really drop our way, didn't drop in the box, little tackles didn't quite drop our way, and we did. And I mean, and again, and I think you could see Watton in the first half, he kept trying to get people's attention to say that you've got to now because there was so much space. You've got to trying to narrow the space and tighten the gaps, and there was just too much space for them to play around. Although I have to say, I thought they had a lot of ball, lots of pretty passing and passing out from the back. They didn't actually get anywhere near our goal in the first half.
Mm.
The goal was the only time when they actually got close to our goal, and they weren't that close to the goal. And there was a bit just debate about should Heyman save it, but having seen it again, I don't think so.
I don't think
He
so.
hit it pretty well. It's got to be
so
you've
well.
got to see it. You've got to see it pretty early to be able to react and get a hand up for that. So yeah, I don't think so. But we had chances in the first half. We created in the first half, not in a way.
Yeah, we got it into the areas. We didn't have the chance, apart from that really good save from the keeper from the other.
But it didn't quite drop our way. But yeah, I mean, I think what he did, the difference, and what he did was he was trying by going to four at the back. I think he was trying to pen them in and push them in, but also just to narrow the spaces. Because of course, when you've got a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, whatever, to four at the back, you're going to play in a more narrow way. But the changes he made, there are other ways he could have done it. I thought that were not so attacking. So with those changes he made, then fair enough. Fair play to do that. But the interesting part for me was the fact he played Musa highest. Because when he started, I thought, okay, well, you probably have Cook up front. You might have Musa and Ashley to the side. kind of get the midfield boys to kind of join in when they can. But he played Mussa the highest, and I guess that was about work rate closing down, because he was doing 45 minutes at that point, obviously. And Mussa, I thought Mussa looked fitter than he has been at all previously. He chased back, he hustled, harried. Obviously, he scored, set up a goal, which helps. But I thought his overall team play worked. But I just thought that
let's talk
the
about
narrowing.
Mussa. I agree.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Mussa.
yeah.
I am so happy. I am so honestly proud and happy because, I feel it's a little bit like the Armani Little saga again, where I was sat here going, he's got the talent. He's sometimes on a different wavelength to his players. Yes, he was trying to do too much, but stick with these players. And yes, I also agree he had to start delivering, which hadn't quite done technically yet. But
I'll take credit for that one as well, Swanee. I said that to my son at half time. I was like, right, he's coming on, definite potential, but it's about to, he needs to start to deliver something. And within 20 odd minutes, he'd scored a goal and set one up.
He makes it look so easy, but that finish that's how gifted of a player he is. The skill to get past on, to look up, and I'm no footballer, but just kind of just hit it with like no backlift, hit it so hard and low.
Power is unbelievable.
Saves it. It's the power. It made it look so easy. Like he is so gifted, and that's why I want players doing that. I want players. We need that player, because I'm nothing against half the other squad. I love our squad, but a lot of those players would not take that on, and we might have lost that game. You know, and the technique on that cross on the second goal from the corner is just. Having him, Hassani, that's some beautiful football in that second half. But Mussa, he is the one. We need 2 or 3 more players, kind of alongside that kind of ability, maybe, or that who's going to win you games. Another member up front. Obviously, we're aware that the club has tried, but and that's fine. It does happen. Recruitment's tough, and there's only a certain amount of players you can get. So it's not, at least the club are trying. It's not a thing. And I seriously think we can contend. Because the talent is just and also massive credit to Paul Watton as well. We sit here,
definitely.
It's easy to criticise the manager when you lose, which I don't know, but he made that sub. Some managers are too proud of going to sort of change things at times, and we've had that for many years. Where they wait to like 75th minute or the 80th minute. He went, no, it's not worked. Took off his captain, took off Carson, one of the starts of his team, and he went for it, and that's what managers are supposed to do. I'll sit the 4-3-3. It needs to be refined. We were a bit more open, let's be honest, and on another day should have had a couple goals, and some of that was our own downfall. But I just love a fullback. I think it makes it so much easier to attack. It's so much more variation in how you can attack. You don't have to just rely on Carson and Crass. They can play in, work the triangles, and midfield can use it. I just think it's brilliant.
We played more football as well in the second half. We played far more football in the first half, and I think there was a place, and there was no doubt in the first half they were trying to get that diagonal ball from Dyer in towards Cook and get Ash and Carson over the top, and Carson had that header, didn't he, quite early on that the keeper pushed away, and I think it was one of those where you could see what the plan was to try and go. But his first half, he played some decent football. I wrote in the preview article that I'd like what I saw Dyer before the injury in the pre-season. But again, he's good going forwards, confident on the ball. If that would have been the perfect goal, we would have been just like the goal at Tiverton we scored in pre-season, where you get the wide centre back goes beyond the wing back, gets across, and then someone heads it in. It was Crosby who scored it. Tiverton, but and again when it got the cross in, Carson headed that classic way you can get the wide centre backs in. But I think the Dyer was good. I love Paul Watton's interviews. They're so honest, aren't they? And they're so they're so full of passion. But I didn't totally agree with him when he said I trusted us defensively. Well, if you can say, they had 3 1-on-1s in the second half. They had the 2 when they broke through, and then the one when we just passed the ball to them basically. So I wouldn't say that. And again, I thought just 6 minutes was ridiculous in the second half, injury time. But then when they had that free header 5 yards out, the 96th minute, there was no way he wasn't going to head it in. Well, why wouldn't he head it in? And then when he headed it wide, I was with my dad and my oldest son, and we all looked at each other and were kind of like, whoa, because we all thought it was in. But I liked Hayfield in that position as well, because he's definitely got energy, but he was kind of he was the axis in the second half, wasn't he? Just to kind of pick up, ironically try and take the ball off Heyman, which he nearly didn't. But and he looked like he can play that role. But again, as you said, credit to one, but it's important to be agile when it comes to formations. Straight back wasn't working just because of how well they played. I think it was anything we did specifically because of how they wanted to play. They were popping the ball around in the space. You had to shut the space down. which we
Yeah.
did. Changed the formation, didn't wait. Brought on a couple of players further forward with a bit of work rate. I thought Jenkins Davis was good again. Worked hard, hustled, harried, nearly got in a couple of times. And yeah, there was nothing not to like. What
He
did
did
it look
very
like on
well.
this? Because I know you were watching on the stream, Tommy, through the
Through
target
the
in the first
sniper
half.
target.
What did it kind of look like tactically from that higher camera view when you was watching?
Well, at first it looked like I was me at Dorking away a couple of seasons ago doing a half-time report. I was all over the shop.
Wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it was difficult because it wasn't particularly great quality. It was quite blurred. So any feedback there, Torquay United, do with that what you will, but it wasn't particularly a great stream. Yeah, first half again, it was quite similar to Eastbourne. I felt, we were hopping it long, a bit too direct for my liking. But again, like as soon as we made the switch at half time, we just came out almost a different team. And full credit to Worthing again. Like I think it's fair to say I don't think there's another team, maybe even in the whole of non-league, that play such beautiful football like they do. And I think that's a thing to remember as well. We're not going to come up against many teams like Worthing this season who have able to exploit the space and play with that creative freedom.
It was a different game last night, wasn't it? We weren't playing a low block.
It was.
It was a really nice game. Sort of game you expect when you're in the National League more. Just
but
I want tonight.
We all know how we got embarrassed by Worthing in the first home game last season. Like, I did say last season I thought Worthing were going to be up there. They play again. It's people say, oh, it's depressing. That we're comparing Worthing to being a good team. But let's be frank, they've been on a rise in recent years, whereas we've been in general on a steady decline. So, and I think under a different manager that would have been a defeat. But I think it just shows again what great unity we've got this season, and Watton's not afraid to make the changes, and Mussa in that role, Mussa up front, Mussa playing high, and driving the ball forward. I mean, that's what we thought he'd do this season, and he showed glimpses at Eastbourne as well, or he gave the away ball, for the first 5 touches he had at Eastbourne, but at least he was trying, and it just worked for him on last night. And yeah, I hope we do look to going 4-3-3 in general. I just feel like we have more freedom. We're a bit suspect at the back, but it was a weird night yesterday. Like even Worthing were quite dodgy at the back, and some, we had that moment, and then we went down the other end, and then they almost conceded quite similarly. So, and ultimately, they concede set pieces. They do concede goals for all the great football that they do play. And backed by a fantastic. I mean, the Yellow Army. I can't believe the great support. I know we had the community night, and that was well attended as well. But 3,700. I mean, on a Champions League night as well. Like when it's so much easier for people to stay at home. I know we haven't had football at Plainmoor for a month, but my goodness me, Yellow Army. We have got behind this football club now and the new consortium. It's fantastic, and long may it continue. I mean, it's just. You look at some of the attendances last night. I mean, at Hampton they had 515. It's just.
Were any of those tickets behind the goal given away? Were they all? Was it just?
I believe they were.
Some of it,
blue light. Some were.
Blue light. Some were. Some weren't. Some were
that's
blue
what I
light.
thought.
But to go back on to topic about the formation, I just think hopefully 4-3-3 is the way to go. And Musa needs to be playing in that role. Or Jenkins Davis, he just keeps running. I know he wasn't fit enough to do the 490. But that's a great problem to have for Paul Watton, isn't it? To have make those difficult decisions. Arguably, when the teams came out, I thought that was our strongest team, especially after when Musa and Hassani came on at Eastbourne. I was glad those changes were made, and he made the decision to play Ash rather than Seymour last night. Although Ash didn't have too much of an impact once again. But again, I like the way he just keeps running in. So, and I think, the goals will come for them and Seymour as well. Be interesting to see how we go on Saturday. But
I think, Tommy, as well, that's still the biggest issue, isn't it? That's the issue within the squad in that is it about goals? Is it about the striker scoring goals? Well, I think it is, because goal scorers should be scoring goals. That's what they're there for, isn't it? But I think that is the issue in that when we went to kind of a wide 3 in the second half up front, it was a little bit different. But I think that in that first half, Ash, and I don't know it's necessarily their fault. They're just not involved in games in a way. I mean, I suggested maybe whether we want to play Moose in behind Cook before last night anyway. But
I just want to be a bit more bold though, because
I think we need another forward, don't we? We need another forward.
Ash has got a striker and just hit it more. You know, like what Mussa did
Yeah,
last night. Let's be bold. You never know with these things. I just want players to just get them in positions and just have a strike. All we need to take a bobble, you know,
Mm.
and spill anywhere. Just
I,
go for it,
I,
especially in the first 10 minutes of games. It's a slow start again. First 10 minutes of games, my rule in
yeah.
football,
They're
that's the
dictating to
keeper.
us in the
See
first
what
10
he's
at
like,
home.
you know,
Yeah,
give him a couple, just crosses into
I
the box
suppose
and
though,
conquer with
if
in
you're
a
going to
push.
play,
With just a
if you,
few strikes across the plot and just really getting them there. It gets the crowd, you know, got 3,700 people there. Really get them to get behind the game. And, you know, again, last night the second half was brilliant. I'm not complaining, but like, it's just, yeah, I would want to see a little bit more,
I suppose the problem
really.
is if you're playing 4-3-3 in that respect, then Ash is going to have to go out wide. So, and that's not
Yeah.
his normal
yeah,
position, is it? So,
yeah. That's
yeah,
true.
look, I do think we need, especially with Crosby injured. I know on loan he got injured, pulled his hamstring, so he'll be out for a little bit. I still feel like we do need another striker.
Yeah,
Someone with a bit of pace, to be honest. Like I've been banging on for
yeah,
years, and I probably still will.
yeah.
Um, a
I would
different,
agree,
just give
Tommy,
us
but
a
I think
different dynamic. Like Worthing's
yeah,
number 9. There's a few in that Worthing team I'd love to have. They're number 9. We couldn't deal with him all game. I think it was the one
yeah,
that missed the header at the end.
yeah. The
Um,
concern I still
yeah,
have though is that if anything happened to Cook, is I've just been looking at his one game. Obviously, you've got to have the obviously I've got to have the program to hand, but having just had a look, I think I think if anything, that Cook's one game away, one yellow away from suspension now, so that's
yeah.
coming. And I think if anything were to happen to him, where he'd be off in any kind of way, shape, you know, any kind of length of time, that would be a problem. So I think whether we've got somebody, okay, fine, will you bring somebody in? But yeah, I agree. You want a bit of pace, and I think you want somebody just as an alternative to Cook, because I was just looking at his 8 games in November. Cook can't do 90 minutes like he did last night for 8 games in 30 days. He just can't. I mean, you wouldn't, he'll be in the red zone, whatever they call it, for injuries if that was the case. So there needs to be another option. That could have been Crosby. Obviously, he went out on loan and now he's injured. So
Injured,
who's
yeah.
that? But I'm no doubt they're looking. I've got no
Hmm,
doubt they're looking.
no doubt. Shall
Uh,
Shall we talk about the officiating?
oh, yeah, big point,
Yeah,
actually. Be hypocritical
Just
by
to show
not
we're
to
fair at Talky Talk. Any
Shocking.
Worthing fans watching?
Absolutely shocking. It's so weird, the rest, because again, I will just put it down to being useless because I still can't really believe they are. But like even like we said about the Welling one, it's weird. It's almost like since Welling had the ghost goals like given against well ours was ruled out against them, they had like two or three just clear like decisions against them since. And it's like well, you know, you don't have to really go out your way to even out. You know, it's just mad. It just shows actually it's just useless. And last night, our linesman's not seen that the player's so clearly in our half. It's mad.
yeah. I don't know. Actually, I thought the ref didn't have a bad game last night. Because I mean, maybe the
I didn't
previous
notice
ref
him
was
apart
against
from that. Yeah,
maybe the ref against St Albans was a low bar. So I'm not sure I'm
and it's a
comparing him, but
linesman who should be dealing with
it was
that. That's
but the one over my side over Bristow's bench was repeatedly 2 or 3 yards behind the game. Behind the game, one of those ones in the second half when they went through one on one was tight. The second one was on, um, but he was regularly just a couple of yards behind the game. And of course, in a game like that, they're popping the ball around and they're breaking the lines and playing it through so quickly. Kind of offsides happen like that. You had to be up to play, and there were several occasions where I didn't think he was.
no, I agree.
But
Tom,
hey,
anything
but
to add?
hey, we were gonna get one back eventually, weren't we? I mean, crikey! I mean, if that's
Yeah, about a lot,
if
about four or
that's
five against
if that
us.
if that's offside, then
Oh,
then
shocking,
we're
isn't
then
it?
we're
Hmm.
then we're in. I
Unbelievable.
don't agree that it evens itself out because what happens happens. But equally, you're gonna
Yeah.
get some. You're gonna win some and lose some, aren't you?
That
Uh,
is terrible, though. That is
it's just
terrible.
shocking. And
It's
Awful,
Worthing,
isn't it?
like you'd be
shocking.
fuming, yeah, for
Absolutely.
that
I'm
long trip
surprised they
down.
didn't. And fair play to the Worthing manager in his interview. I don't think he even brought it up, to be honest. So fair
Mm.
play, but that is appalling. I mean, that is I mean, we've been rightfully on the wrong end of decisions in the recent games. So, I guess it's nice for it to go that way. But that was 0-0, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
and they scored a few minutes after. So would that have changed the game? Maybe not so much, but then you can never tell it's football. But unfortunately, it's just a sad reflection on the officiating at this level,
It's just
and it
shocking.
Mm.
furthers my point that you've got to go out there, you've got to give yourself a good lead, and not rely on the officials to ruin your day. And that's going to be
Yeah.
there'll be plenty more bad officiating, but Worthing fans do feel for you on that one. That's an absolutely dreadful decision, but
Yeah, I think as well, Tommy. Something that Watt said after the game on Saturday. he said we can't keep conceding the first goal. So lo and behold, what happens again? And that's something else we've got to work. I think there's two things he'll want us to be doing: is A, not conceding the first goal, but then also when you're ahead, getting the second goal. Because if you look at the St Albans game and the Averley game at Plainmoor, not getting the second goals cost us points.
Yeah, no, I
Because
agree.
we could have won all the home games, couldn't we? They're the two we haven't won, and we could easily should have won both of those games.
The home record's good. Home record is good at the moment, and that's going to be vital. And I think we've raised a few eyebrows with that result last night.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at the teams that were meant to be with, you know, supposed to be up there as well. Swanee's favourite, Dorking, lost again last night, 5 points behind us. Played a game more. Swanee. Boreham Wood, you know, they're 5. I think they've got a game in hand on us, but you know, for us to be third, fantastic. You know, great, definitely. And you know, a quarter of the way almost through the season, aren't we? So, you know, hopefully we can continue. Tough game on Saturday, but look, you know, just and again, to have such a vocal backing and people turning up in the numbers against Torquay games on a Tuesday night. I mean, just incredible Yellow Army. Pat yourselves on the back.
Is it a tough game Saturday, Tommy? They're 20th in the league. They're not. Anyway, game's tough, but they're 20th in the league.
No easy game in this division.
No, but they're 20th in the league. 20th in the league. Come on.
Yeah. And they've been on a bit of bad form. We were, as we were saying, so as I know, Tom, it's dark horses, weren't they, for a bit? They've dropped a bit, but this is football. You know, if we go out there off our game,
and I'll tell you what as well. I was just looking in my trusted programme. Look at the 4 home games in November: Chelmsford, Tunbridge, Maidstone, Weston. If you look at the league now, if we come out of those 4 still unbeaten at home in the league. But so we just got to keep. But you know, it's no surprise, is it? You know, part of one's team talk is going to be look. Which is where the first 10 minutes I think agrees hurting. As I said to my dad again, you know, they've dominated the football in the first 10 minutes. Got to get into teams. Look at the Chippenham game. Got into them, 2-0 up in the first quarter. Now it's what you got to do, isn't it, in games?
I agree.
Before Swanee falls asleep. Sorry,
Swanee,
before you fall asleep, shall we go into the corner?
I've been trying to bring it into it for about a couple of minutes now. I've got to edit this as well. Too much excitement for me. Life's going so well. And then last night, you know, all the nice people speaking to me about Helen Chamberlain episode. Oh, what an episode that was, by the way. Since first time we've been recorded since. Incredible. What a person. What a person Helen is. And thanks for the feedback on that. All the excitement's caught up with me. It's just a National League South football.
It's exhausting, isn't it? My dad wrote the verdict, and he said, walking away from the game, it's just exhausting. That last quarter of an hour was exhausting, wasn't it? It's dreadful going through it, but yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm honestly having the best. It's the most fun I've ever had sporting talking. I know it's for a lot of it's because of it's and all doing stuff, but I just having the best time. It's brilliant. But go on then, Tom. Get Kelly's corner done.
Well, we weren't gonna do a corner, and then someone decided within our group decided to do one anyway. So thank you, whoever that was.
It wasn't me because I was like, oh, come on.
I think it was Dom. Dom tweeted out and said, "I can't join." Sorry,
it's Dom. Yeah, leave us alone for this. And now you make me read more. So basically, the question it wasn't really a question. It was more just comments or thoughts on the last 2 games that anyone would like to share with unpopular opinions. Welcome. So thank you to everyone who wrote in. So we've got Lee Payne who says hope
opinion.
Clive's got to have done that now. He's done that. That's got to be Clive.
Yeah. So Lee Payne on Facebook says hopefully my Chichester Gull'S flag won't keep getting taken down at the next away game by the home fans. There was a thing where I think it was falling at some point in the first half. The funny thing was the average age, I think, of the Eastbourne Ultras, I don't know what they were, about 13. Made a good racket though, so fair play to them. But they did put it back up, to be fair. So, and it's always nice to know that I've got more local goals near me. So
yeah,
just down the road
as well. All for that.
So on Twitter, so Mark Hurst says, do you think Paul Watton is brave enough to start a game in the formation he switched to in the last 2 games? He said he loves a 1-0, but unleashing the Moose in a forward role might give others confidence in the opposition half as well.
I agree. But it's also a bit of it where you could bring it in the second half a little bit. I think we should, but maybe away from home. Until do we need more wingers though? Out and out wingers for 4-3-3. You know, I know it worked last night. It might be a thing where you get a couple of wingers in. And that's the first thing I'm doing when Football Manager comes out in March, is getting a couple of wingers in on loan or permanent, and then I'm cooking you both, you see. So I just think I
having to wait that long.
Yeah, as soon as I get involved, as soon as I become the talking like researcher and I'm about to get my free game, we have to see.
You're want to get involved with EA Sports 25's one? It's just landed in my house. My son bought it the weekend. Yeah,
I
that's
do,
what it's
mate.
all
I
about.
make content
Have
with it.
you?
That's for another day. Yeah, 30 quid I got this month. Incredible.
Oh,
Buying my stake in the
nothing
football
on
club soon.
LMA Manager. That was
No, it's true.
my go-to.
Anyway, what game did you all play and still play? Carry on.
sensible
That's the
soccer.
question.
um, Dom's posted, so couldn't be bothered to make the thing tonight, but he's posted it. Positives.
Battering Dom because
I
he's
guess
not
he
showing, aren't
really
we?
wanted to get this off his chest. That's why we've got the question from him tonight. So positives, resilience, team spirit, Paul Watton adapting and making good changes, Musa giving the impact we hope to see, and an amazing attendance. Negatives, Freckeld
negatives
struggling in
for Dom.
midfield. Front
Yeah,
two
playing
not
it, is it?
working, whichever combo is used, and defensive frailty shown at times, with Hammond not overly convincing.
Oh, yeah, Don Roman always says how it is.
That's it.
As
Another one
previous
who always...
people of the board said, the negative influence of the Torquay United fan base.
The most negative fan in the Torquay fan base is Dom. Right, moving on. Another one who's not afraid to share his opinion is Clive. He says he's actually got a poll up here. Are Torquay winning the league by 6 to 12 points or by Christmas? I don't know which one's winning at the moment, so
I can tell you because I answered if you like. Hang on, let's have a look. That did make me chuckle. Carry on. I'll see if I can find out the answer.
Rachel writes in saying, has the goalkeeper become complacent? Looked decidedly sloppy in recent games. One position without any backup cover at the moment.
It's a tough position.
I think everyone has a bad game every now and then. Yes, he was flappy, but there were quite a few defensive issues last
He did
night.
make a very brave save last night, in fairness. Not too
I do think you should have a
62.5%.
spare sub keeper on the bench, though. That's my personal preference.
I wouldn't at
Yeah.
5. But we need a sub keeper.
62.5% say 6 to 12 points currently.
Fair enough. Well done, everyone.
Nice.
I'll take it. One goal difference, to be honest.
Ollie Reyes says Seymour should start over Ash alongside Cook because he gets on the ball a lot more, making better runs. Yes, his finishing is lacking, but this wouldn't be a top team without team players, which Seymour is. Also, we should definitely get a winger in. Unbelievable that we haven't done so already. I personally would still start Ash over Seymour.
I think
That's
so.
my opinion.
I want a bit more from Ash than he gave last night, but I do like Brad Ash. I just want him to back himself a bit more, just have a shot from angles, look up a little bit more and just, sometimes get caught in two mind, like what's the best, either just lever it or go to pass. Sometimes there's a couple of times there's a chance in the first. I think he keep a spud for a corner, and like he looked at Cody Kirk and then he was like, oh, I could catch keeper out here, and in the end he sort of had a shot which is neither here or there, and just that just splits their decision making still with him, isn't it? Because I know he's got the finishing ability, but
this is why I'd rather we weren't so direct, because I don't think that plays into his strengths anyway.
No.
Play it on the deck, lads.
Yeah, I agree.
Chris Brown says, could do without the stress when we sit back and defend, even though we should be used to it by now. We played well, though, and hopefully Musa can start to be the player he knows he already is.
Yeah.
And Joe from Off the Line blog says, thoughts, the back three are outrageously good. Watton has shown that he's a flexible 3-5-2 to 4-3-3. Brave, taking off Freckeld and Hassani against a team you need to be strong enough against. Ruthless and proactive with 2 halftime changes. Hugely refreshing. And that we are 3 players light.
Totally agree with everything you have said there, Joe. That's quite usual.
Yeah, well, I think the squad needs to get stronger. But I mean, about at the minute, but our third point is, was it just Tomlinson not involved last night with the squad? Is anyone else left? Is there?
Did Seymour didn't come on, did he?
No, as in he wasn't in the matchday squad. I meant, sorry.
Tomlinson injured? Tomlinson injured, or was he just not there?
No, well, he was on the bench at the weekend, I think, wasn't he? And then Mox. Well, good job Mox was. That was a good job for Mox. That one, it come on, run around like a chicken, headless chicken for quarter an hour. Well, yeah, no, it's just him. Well. And obviously Palmer's injured as well, of course. So his face looked all right. I saw him last night in an injury sense. I'm not. Well, I pay him a compliment, but I meant more.
In theory, the injuries aren't too bad, are they? Really?
Not so far.
It's not like last season where we just didn't have a clue for 6 months.
I think it's
almost like they were being overtrained, isn't it?
Yes. Funny that, isn't it? Anyway,
you going on Saturday, Tommy? You going Saturday, Tommy?
Oh yes, yep. It'll be trains and tube for me. Yep. So plenty of beers flowing that week.
Oh, lovely. Are we going to win then, Tommy? What's the predictions?
I think we are going to win 3-1 at Hornchurch.
Oh, just what I was going to say.
Yeah, I was
Swanee?
thinking that. I'm going a clean sheet, 2-0 Torquay. We're
I
2-1 team
think
now, aren't we?
I just don't think we're going to be. I was just going to say I'll go 2-1. What did you say?
2-0.
I'll go 2-1. Yeah, I think it's a sort of. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. Are we gonna score 4, 5, 6 in games? Maybe. Who
It's a
knows? But
good
I think
game for
certainly away from
Hornchurch
home
to
will be
have. But
compact. Yeah.
It's a big
it's a
game
good
for them,
game
yeah.
because like they've
I,
had a bit of a dodgy couple of weeks, and then it's a I wouldn't want to say free hit without some arrogant, but to them it's like, oh, it's a bit of a cup game. Maybe it could be if they play it like that,
Yeah.
and they could have us. But if we
Yeah.
go there and just
many
we
people
get in
thought they'd
early,
be
control the game, get an early goal, and then that should knock their confidence.
many people thought they're going to be dark horses for playoffs this
Still could be.
season.
Still could be.
It'll be difficult.
But that's
Again, like I know they're 20th, but it'll be a difficult game, especially, the ground is pretty much it's like a worse version of Chelmsford by the looks of it. So that'll be fun. And I'll be interested to see how they handle the soft segregation. I guess they haven't had to segregate too many games in their history. So no, it should be good. Sounds like they're expecting a lot of Torquay to travel. So hopefully we'll have plenty there, and
Be a good
hopefully
day.
we
Oh, I
can
should think so.
celebrate with 3 points on the weekend.
Let's
There
hope
we
so. Shoot
are.
let Swanee go to bed now, Tom.
Yeah, I've got to edit it, and then I will. Yeah. There we go. Cheers, lads.
Good
Thanks
night,
everyone for watching
Swanee.
it. Yes,
Sleep well.
tired now.
Get yourself a hot water
Right.
bottle, Swanee.
Yes, get the heated blanket on, and then
Clocks
full
go back
sleep.
Sunday. We're winning the league.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
definitely.
Season doesn't
Sorry,
start.
the early 2000 rang said they wanted their heated blanket back, Swanee. Sorry.
I've got Boris a present. All right. I won't say who by. No mind.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Right, on to the next one. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. He stays onside. Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.